Hey, what's up guys? Ace Player here, and welcome back to Every Leak in Stick War 3, Part 3. Now you guys were asking for this over and over again, and finally I am here with a whole bunch of good stuff. To celebrate the release of the third leaks video, I finally made a Every Leak in Stick War 3 playlist that you guys can check out for every single leak in Stick War 3. Stay tuned till the very end to learn about some new spells coming to Stick War 3. Anyway, to kick off the leaks, we of course have to begin where we last left off in part 2, and that is that now the Toxic Deads have their own really cool skins. Pretty based in saying that it's pretty annoying to not be able to tell your deads apart, so this is a welcome change. And it also kind of explains why they're ranged units in the first place. You could have the Archidon blood going through your veins. We of course also have the Bomber that was once upon a time called the Boomer, but do not fret, he has been changed back. This boy is back to his Bomber origins, and look at him go. Now this conversation comes from someone in the Stick War Discord, so I'm going to pretend this is you. CJ, why does Xeric have all his kids as princes/princesses, as the leaders of something? To which Crazy J responds, well, that's usually how it goes. Which, you know, that's probably the most dad answer you could receive there. But there is an entire 2-minute and 30-second movie Alan and Crazy J are working on, which explains this, apparently specifically on campaign level 6. So we'll be on the lookout for that when the campaign releases. Now, when asked about the lore within the campaign, Crazy J said soon enough you'll be like, okay, enough lore, too much lore. I don't know if it's possible to give me too much lore. Like, you could come up with the most outlandish and specific things, and then I'd probably be like, yeah, that's true. Rathnar, when he wasn't on the battlefield killing innocent civilians, was working at his side hustle at a bakery shop. It turns out that the Flaming Sword produces the best slices of toast known to stick mankind. One day, on a fateful night, Rathnar forgore his trusty blade and had to make toast the old-fashioned way, with Magi Kill magic. Toasters have not yet been invented. He totally screwed up and burnt the entire bakery down, along with half of his face, to a crisp. This is where he learned the baker's life was not for him, and he returned to killing for good. At least he can do that well. Now, Crazy J was also asking us if we would be interested in a really cool time-lapse type thing, and to be honest, the answer is yes, at least from me. I don't know about you guys, but seeing all the behind-the-scenes stuff that goes on to making games and making anything you really care about is always really fun. I've checked out plenty of animation time lapses in the past, so I definitely would be a big fan of seeing a bunch of these come out. So yes, Crazy J, please make more animation time lapses. They are very interesting. Crazy J then goes on to talk about how the Jugs have lore, but he doesn't feel like telling us. So we don't know the specifics about the Juggernauts, but what we do know is that they will have some cool lore too, and a special new design idea for them that can't be leaked just yet. He then goes on to confirm once again that the Boulder Giants will come back, and he elaborates how later. Xeric was then leaked to be behind bars at one point in the campaign, as he is seen here, sad and alone while it rains outside. This particular cutscene has some voice acting, so a bit different than the other music video style one that was shown before in the first leaks video. I made a video speculating on why Xeric might be in that prison, and you can check it out in the top right corner. Why do you guys think King Xeric is in prison? Crazy J then went on to leak the Crawler and a potential run animation. Now it does kind of look like he is quite literally face planting into the ground, kind of like a trowel or something, but I assume his bones aren't meant to go that far back. It'll probably be changed a little bit in the future, but the Crawler is looking very cool and a little more monkey-like, to be honest. That tail doing the curl thing and just the entire demeanor that they got going on, they look a lot less like cats and a lot more like monkey kind of things, and it's very cool. Can't wait to see him in the game. Crazy J then goes on to say that the elementals are important for the lore of Stick War 3, but the focus for the first campaign will be more about order and chaos and the tribes. So there are a whole bunch of tribes in Stick War that we have seen throughout the series, but we haven't really gotten too much elaboration on what they do and what their role is in the universe. It seems like the first campaign is going to flesh that out a lot more for us. Did you know Crazy J has been working on a book of lore? He might actually launch a couple of pages out in a leak sometime in the future, so make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you're notified when I upload my videos, because YouTube does a mediocre job of letting you know what's up. And Crazy J goes on to say that the lore's been expanding so much that the book is almost necessary for him to keep track of it all. When asked about the delays in the campaign, Crazy J said that, "I think this year we could have launched the campaign already, but we kind of went all out and made it way bigger and more epic than originally planned, and I think it will be worth the wait." Now, those words are definitely true. I personally am just not a big fan of release dates in general, especially when it comes to medias like games, because unexpected stuff and new ideas come up all the time, and they can totally restructure how everything gets done moving forward. So all you really need to know is delays in the campaign equals a better campaign. It's very exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. Crazy J talks about this one spell, Phasmophobic, which sacrifices your farthest miner, which causes the enemy to run away, and it seems like it'll affect as many enemy units as miners that you have. This is a very cool idea, and I can actually see myself using this because there's quite a few situations in where you want to sacrifice a miner or two, and now you can do it and actually get a benefit. Finally, we get to the juicy stuff, previews of some future cards, such as Grasp of the Xylaros, I hope I'm saying that right, an enchantment that allows you to have an additional mythic. An additional mythic seems pretty ridiculous, but let's look at all the other stuff we got going on here too. Not only do we got Grasp of the Xylaros, we got some kind of, it seems like a distortion or like fear or something. 2 Spiritons in the middle tower, and an explosion. So what do these mean? Now, I can only really speculate because Crazy J has about 15 new ones planned, and he's just picked a few cool ones to show, but we can kind of just take a guess based on how they look. We might even be able to predict exactly what they end up doing. So in regards to Grasp of the Xylaros, this does seem pretty strong at first glance, but if you think about it, this is an enchantment you need to bring to be able to bring 2 mythics. So bringing this, as well as your 2 mythics, you're already at half your deck gone because you got another slot taken up for miners. You're going to have a ranged unit that's already 5 slots taken up, and as you can see, it can get pretty out of hand pretty quick. It's kind of like a too many cooks in the kitchen type situation. I'm sure there might be a few broken strategies that could emerge from this, but it's gonna be a very tight fit, especially if your opponent has a more well-rounded deck with spells and late game potential. Now, the second slot preview looks like it could be that fear enchantment that was being talked about earlier by Crazy J, where you sacrifice a miner and it spooks people equal to your number of miners. This does seem like a pretty cool spell, and I can only assume it belongs to this icon because it kind of looks like that guy is scared. I know I am, looking at him. The third spell, I have a pretty good idea of what this one might do. Now, I could be completely misinterpreting the meaning of this, but it kind of looks like this could be a cheaper Spiriton spawn that starts attacking both sides. Now, I could be like actually off my rocker here, but this seems to make sense, and it would actually be a really cool addition to the game. I think some of the best aspects of strategy games is when things aren't necessarily good or bad for you. When things are a little bit of a give and a little bit of a take, a little yin, a little yang, you know? It really gets me going. I just find that stuff so cool because it adds a little more nuance to your choice other than just bringing something because it's a good thing to bring. Now, this fourth spell, I can only assume it has something to do with explosions because there's kind of like a nuke going down over here, but it's also got a little bit of a face. It seems to be a toxic looking figure, a little chaos icon of sorts. It probably does like poison on explosions or something. While we can only speculate, these already look like great additions to the game, and I'm really excited to see what they do and how they work. Finally, we end up with our most recent leak from the craziest of Jays, the new Tether ability, and it's super fun. So that's how they captured those giants. And it looks like we have a depiction of Q-Chew taking aim and absolutely locking down an Eclipser with a new Tether ability. Now, Crazy J goes on to elaborate later that this is probably not going to belong to Q-Chew when all is said and done. They're just kind of testing it out right now on her because she exists. But eventually, this will probably end up going on the leaked character Arceus. And I can assume that guy was the founder of the Archidons or something like that. Anyway, let me know your favorite leak in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.